Okay, we'll do that.
I've never really looked for them.
I think those are, well, maybe even for medicinal purpose. Maybe.
I sit up front, that means they have to stay the whole time.
Be on. So, welcome to who's here. Everybody sign in. By any chance? Oh my god! Can you please sign in? Just oh Alex, you too. It's 5:30. We're gonna start. Just let me know we're recording this. We'll this for everybody else's information between now and election day. We'll pop this up somewhere just so folks can listen into what the conversation was on this. So we're gonna go over potential changes to the Harbor Ordinance and a cannabis ordinance that town can choose to adopt or not. So that'll be our little topic of conversation. We do have handouts up there. If anybody wants to grab a copy of each for themselves, as we can follow along, that's always fun. So, for reference, on the Harbor Ordinance, the big driver for making any changes to the Harbor Ordinance resulted from conversations with Alan Dowdy, our harbor master. We had this online mooring program that was supposed to help folks out by making it, I don't have to come into the office, I can go online and I can apply for a mooring or a grant fee and all that kind of stuff. Well, it proved to be a little more high tech than our users were. And it changed the way it was working was it worked on our fiscal year. So we expected guys that work on the water to come in here in July and get a mooring permit. Well, they're on the water working and they had no time to come in here. The time they can come in here, and they do come in here, is January to renew their boat license. So let's grab them while they're in here because that made sense. So one of the first changes in the ordinance, you'll see additions are in red, deletions are in blue, strike through, easy enough to follow. One of the first deletions out of here is Appendix B removed. Appendix B were the old applications for a mooring. Applications you really don't want to have applications forms you don't want to have in an ordinance, because if you want to have Town of Sullivan versus the Town of Sullivan, you have to go to town meeting to change one word. Kind of silly. And on top of it, the forms that were there had 2019 on them. So how do I issue a 2026 mooring permit with a 2019 form? You can't. So we take those out. It leaves you the flexibility of being able to change and modify the form as need be. Everything after here, I believe, what page are we on? 6, 7, 8. It's in section 5, which page 10, as Mike pointed out. So section 6 moorings, 6.2 applications, as shown in Appendix B, removing the as shown in Appendix B because Appendix B will not exist. Then you go to the next page, page 11, section 6.4 permits. We put it had 1 year. We put it for 1 calendar year. It never defined how long. So the calendar year gives a simple explanation. It's January to December. When you come in to do your boat again, I'll see you in January. You renew everything. I'll see you on the water. Nice and easy. Not sure if we had any other. 13. Yes. Okay. Yes, please. We could do that that's an easy. Can you make a note?
I am making notes.
Oh, look at that. Thank you. So, but that's why doing this is important, because what's up in my head and what makes sense to the public is different. All right. So at the bottom of page 13, what was taken out of here, they had very specific language as far as when to come in here, and that we would send out bills. We were not sending out bills. You know, much like you used to get renewal for your motor vehicle, they don't do that anymore either. So it's on you to come in here and renew that. So mooring fees paid after because they had a definitive period that if you didn't pay by a certain time, there was a late fee, and that was all laid out in the fee schedule. So basically, just changing it to the proper time, and the same thing with non-payment after this day. Then you have your late fees. So you have to pay them by this day. If you don't, you fall into late fees. Just changing the language to fall into, like you said specifically of 31st of January gives people that anchor to lock onto. I don't know. I don't think we've gotten that far yet. I don't think our records have been that. And the nice thing about not having fees in here, which is another thing that falls into ordinances, you couldn't choose to change any fee, to give somebody a reduction, to not give them a late fee, to do it for free for whatever reason, because it will be locked in here. Fees and forms you don't want in ordinances because it just gets too complicated. I believe that is it. So it's a real simple amendment. And yeah, here's the maps that are part of it. Shows you where things are. I did make a change to it, but it wasn't a notable change. The maps were small, and this way I put them large and the other way, just to make it so you can see it better. It should be more useful. Just a flip of the map really wasn't a change, more so an improvement. And that's really it for that end of the world for Harbor. Anybody have any questions? We had some great information on an amendment. Yes. No, this is election day, so June 9th, unless you do early in person, and then you could vote on it then. We can pull it up. We actually have. I'm really testing my eyes here tonight. This is good. So, ordinances ballot, click here. It's actually in the hallway. If you want to take a peek at it, if you can't see it here, because I can barely see it myself. I'm just being honest. To see if the inhabitants of the town of Sullivan will vote for removing forms and fees from Harbor Management Ordinance. Which kind of should be language change. Yeah. Yeah. Removing forms and language change. We can fix that, right? On there. That's fine.
Yeah.
We use the back of them for some of this. We'll crumple it up and stuff it in boxes. So we can make it so it makes sense. Language and forms. Yeah. Yeah. There was suggestions on it, but yeah, you make a good point.
Yeah, you need to reference the date changes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So, calendar year. There's a blank page. I didn't move one stage. So, calendar year. Forms. Language. So if we note calendar year, forms, and language, calendar year change, forms, removal, language change, that kind of puts everybody in, you know what you're doing. Any other questions?
Hey, John.
Question right here. So in Flanders Bay on Booty Creek, in relation to the so-called Great Rock, where is that located? Because the reason why I'm looking that up, Overcove and Overcove Road is in everybody's deed in that East Sullivan area to have general anchoring as well as use of Overcove Road as a public road. And that's written inside my deed, which dates back to
1803.
So John, for clarification, just to make sure I understand, so you're asking, you don't think that would be subject to the mooring?
No, because you would have to change everybody's deed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it's all in relation to cause I have a, survey that was done back then, which shows the town line between Goldsboro and Sullivan
Mhm.
being the Great Rock, which is in the mouth
The gunk.
of Moranci Stream is the Great Rock. It hasn't moved
Great rock.
in a million years.
Is that they always call Seal Rock?
Something
Then,
wrong.
Yeah,
Like in my-
yeah,
In my survey, it's called the Great Rock.
yeah. So what's the suggestion?
To, the location of Bowie Creek to not include Over Cove Road. I mean, Over Cove.
Okay, so does, I guess let's go back to the thing here. And,
I think it's all right.
because I'm not sure, the location is one thing, how does it reference it
Well,
in,
if you go ahead and zoom in, I think we're okay, John. Is it, it shows this as I'm looking at it, just to the left of Over Cove.
right, Sullivan Harbor,
Nobody's gonna moor over in there by over Cove anyway.
Yeah,
Flanders Bay? This is one you're talking about,
Yeah.
John? Flanders Bay?
yeah, right there.
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoom in.
Just off of the rock.
Yeah,
So is that considered Over Cove? Just off of the rock, there's deep water there. It's over 20 feet.
yeah, I thought the cove was right in when I canoe back or kayak. That's Over Cove right straight in there.
Yeah, because here's
Yeah,
the, well,
yeah, you can't see it very well.
there's the road, I think, right
Yeah.
here, because
Anyway,
It's like a,
we'll check it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
so there's that, here somewhere, I guess they're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
I was just wondering where that the.
oh, these were probably done back in, I think it was 2016 to 2017 when they made the amendments. Then they put these in.
That's related to the survey?
I don't know, not knowing what they did then, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. What you'd have to see is what are they discussing? Because it's in here, harbors and channels, the harbor limits Sullivan Harbor, harbor limits Flanders Bay. So limits.
Yeah, it's all in longitude and latitude.
It's really it's discussing the limits, and I don't know that the buoys are actually referencing, other than, excuse me, where something would be. I don't know that the ordinance references any restriction based on a buoy,
Well,
unless you
says
find it.
The boundaries of the harbor. So anything inside those buoys between,
Mhm.
from just outside Over Cove all the way over to Bass Cove. You know, you can put boats all up across there.
Yeah, we're not gonna come up with an answer tonight, so, but we can look and see where these actually roll in on a different map, right?
Yeah,
For buoy, okay,
a date from when they took the map.
yeah, but just the picture, it looks like the buoy is in good shape,
Yeah,
it's to the
but
left.
What I'm getting at, does the buoy separately land from Over Cove? Because I do know from the Great Rock is the town line for Goldberg and Sullivan.
That's not more.
Uh,
But our line comes out of right out of the corner of something's Cove and goes right over towards Treasure Island
Okay,
and then back out.
and.
But I think if I'm correct,
There was a dispute that parts, the very end of Treasure Cove is, parts of Goldberg, the very tip. So the half-tide ledge, that has been in dispute. However, according to the state of Maine, it would take, the town of Sullivan and the town of Goldsboro to file, because there's a discrepancy between the two towns.
Is this York and Kittery? Is this York and Kittery
No,
fighting over a line?
We are way off what we're talking about.
I know.
I think what this is this says that these are the boundaries that we're allowed to control. Anything outside of those boundaries don't fall into our purview for moorings.
Right.
So if you moor outside of there, it's not us.
And I think you want to know if Overcove is included in those boundaries or not.
Yeah, the location of Bowie 3.
Well,
I brought this up before.
yeah.
To other selectmen, and they could not provide an answer.
We can send the person on a mission.
Yeah, we'll send our harbor master on a mission.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if it's based on a survey, I can provide them the survey that
Okay.
I have from the 1800s that shows that over code,
You suppose they've done a survey since 1800?
no, they haven't.
No, not a one.
Yeah, John,
Because that's the discrepancy
Yeah.
between.
But we can look into that.
yeah, we've got the coordinates they use it. We can start with this. And if everything's fine, we come back and say, you're in the you're outside the coordinates, you're
Yeah.
good or
Yeah.
bad. If there's an issue with the coordinates, then we hit that as a separate
Yeah.
deal.
And so that gives us,
Relate to the vote.
no, it does not. It does not.
At the point, who pays taxes in which town?
Okay, yeah, I have.
You have?
Yeah. And the line goes from the Great Seal Rock or the Great Rock to the inside of John Small's Cove. So that land, that's right across from, Over Cove Road, and you look across, and that lane right there is colored. Just the point, so that goes out over, so when that line goes out, it comes across from the Great Rock and goes all the way to Bar Island. And it cuts off Half Tide Ledge, because.
Okay, guys.
Well, So what is,
Can you continue the conversation?
so wait,
after this?
so here's the commitment. This is about removing forms and changing language to bring us into a calendar year for moorings.
Yeah.
We'll send a guy on a mission to find out more about Old Cove. Should it have its own harbor limits? Should it be included? Should it be modified? If we find something valid, we can come back in November and
modify
add it, modify it, do what we need to do.
This does give us the purview to modify the ordinance.
Okay.
So instead of putting everything else on hold, we can look at a potential revision.
Yep.
Over Cove, and he may have to get a hold of Goldfair on it.
Yeah, we'll send him on a mission.
Get with Goldfair and go ahead, and the state will do a survey if both towns agree to do the survey.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
That's state law.
no arguments, Josh. You're good. We'll check it. It's an interesting conversation. It's
And like you said, you brought it up before us, so we'll bring it to fruition and we'll stick a pin in it.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions? No.
Sit on the harbor.
That's it on Harbor.
Yep.
Easy peasy. Okay. So a while back, probably about 2 years ago now, we put before the town to vote to see if they wanted to create a cannabis ordinance. They met at election day and they voted yes, they want to create a cannabis ordinance. These fine people in front here were the cannabis committee, and they went through and said, okay, so if we were going to have anything in town, what would it be? Where would it be? What would you want? Because everybody has their, well, I don't want this and I don't want that. And how would you shape things to be if you were going to present an opportunity? Because you can't make people do anything. But if you were to, we the town, what kind of, that's the ordinance is. This is our controls and our decisions on how these things come together. So this ordinance was put together to make that possible. It leads in with a ton of definitions that I'm going to pull up here in front of me so I'm not going to make my eyes bleed from across the room. Yes, sir.
They refer to the department. What department?
Hold on.
Second, that refers to.
Okay, a person that submits an application for this license under this chapter,
I'm sorry, of which one?
Refers to-
Haven't made it down that far yet.
okay, suggestion? Because we're applying to the,
Department for review.
yeah, it should really be applying to the town for review.
Person that submits an application for license under this chapter to the department for review. Yeah.
Should be the town.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just have a general question.
Yes.
Has the committee that I'm taking here considered or consulted rather with other towns that have cannabis businesses within their town?
Okay, can you hold off on that just for a second till we get the department thing squared away first? So that would be the next question. Okay, so a person that submits an application for a license under this chapter to the department for review that the department has not yet. Okay, that's an applicant. So it should be to the town.
Town.
He's acting as a department. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna make the change on the fly. That's what we're doing, because it,
Anywhere department should be town.
Expectation on page 6.
Okay.
Universal symbol.
Universal symbol, developed by the amendments developed by the department of the available to license, which includes that a container.
Okay.
Okay.
Was the department, the state application?
Yeah, we need to figure that out.
This is
Yeah.
someone who's applying for the town. They've already put an application into the state, but have not had it approved as of yet. So it's probably something that we wouldn't be dealing with.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right that the town is doing that.
yeah, when you put it in that frame, but just for reference, what was your interaction in the industry
Well,
to give everybody else a point of view?
food products. Strictly with food and any consumable that was made or sold in a cannabis facility. I worked for the Department of Agriculture until 2 weeks ago. So I got into a number of places so I could see what was going on. And 100% they are operated quite properly and quite well. So that gave me a little bit of knowledge as to what goes on in those facilities. And actually, it was quite comforting that they are well organized and they are regulated by the Office of Cannabis Policy, who has inspections continuously. They do a lot of work, and they've got a lot more work to do, but they do a lot. So that has been my contact with discussions with owners, and so it's opened up channel of information for me personally. Or I became a member of this committee.
Okay, so to reference this, so cannabis licensing in Maine. Maine's cannabis licensing is overseen by the Office of Cannabis Policy. That would be the person that they're applying for the license. So that would be the suitable people to put in here.
That department would be referring to the Office of Cannabis Policy.
Yeah, because if they're applying, because the language says applying for a license, right?
Yeah, just what I was thinking.
Is it there?
No. Yeah, we need.
I missed-
to put a
Okay.
definition of department.
Not anything. So department definition, then that would bring it down, which makes tons of sense, Beth.
Or take out the word department and replace it with office of. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You'll see in the ordinance that the first step would be for an applicant to apply to the state before they come to the town.
Ooh.
And that's what I believe that's referred to there.
Okay,
You know what? A genius thing is to the state instead of department.
State.
They apply to the state because if the state's known for changing names of agencies, acronyms, this and that, whatever whiz bang thing they think is fancy today. See the folks at Mocha, they'll tell you. They apply to the state,
well, it says a person seeking an initial permit shall submit a completed site plan review application to the code enforcement officer to be placed on the planning board agenda for review. It doesn't indicate anywhere that goes to the state there.
but licensing is different.
What page are you on?
I would just want page 7 on the permit application.
But to stick on Don's point, the applicant needs a license. So the applicant gets the license from the state. So page 1, definitions, 4th one down, applicant.
Yeah.
So a person that submits the application for a license under this chapter to the state for review that the state has not yet approved or denied.
Well, anything in this ordinance that tells how to do that or mentions that other than the definition
That how to apply.
for a license.
Licensed premise, licensee, a person licensed pursuant to this chapter to operate a cannabis establishment, limited loitering.
The applicant must follow the guidelines of the state. Don't redefine.
Right, you need to go into all kinds of detail on it.
No, you but that's not even in here. Even that's not in here. The
Well-
height and fine.
So then you have to put license types.
Yeah, how do I get a license? If it says go to the state website and do that, that's all it needs to say.
Right?
What if that says that this is, they've submitted an application for license under this chapter to the state for review, that the, actually, the town has not yet approved or denied. So the applicant is coming to us, to the town. But they've already put an application in. I think the message here was that this was somebody that is coming to us to put an application in, but doesn't state that the applicant is already
Looking to-
received approval from the state.
Looking to see where else applicant appears in here.
Adheres to the legislation of the state of Maine for application, blah, blah, blah. And that should cover that. Because you're not setting up anything to dispute what the state of Maine does. You should be stating what you support. And those who cannot do that, cannot do that.
Well, it does actually in section A, it does kind of say that at the very beginning.
That's really first.
Yeah.
So hiding it below doesn't help those who have questions in the beginning.
Yeah,
So
I guess what I'm looking at, Ray, too, is if I was gonna do this, how do I do, this doesn't tell me how to do it. That's not the purpose of it, or it is a purpose?
well, it's not a how-to guide.
Okay,
So if an applicant is a person that already has a license from the state, then, because do you, so if someone wants to apply for something in town, what's our prerequisite? Do you already have to have a license from the state? We can say yes. So an applicant is a person who was already received a license from the state.
And opposition, the state requires.
we're,
Or define what the state requires. They have to go to the state and
no argument.
Yeah.
No argument.
just to simplify the language at the beginning. City of Ellsworth and other ones, and
Can you talk about Benson voted last night to not having, cannabis store,
No,
cannabis retail. store.
additional,
Well, it didn't say that.
it was two additional stores is what they were looking for.
But they, I believe what's there now, that
Yeah,
they were looking for,
Yeah.
which are two different
Yeah.
Mhm.
situations. But Ellsworth is only going to allow 3 stores. And I don't see that you have any limitations.
Yes, there is.
We will.
Yeah.
Overall, the purpose of, while we were working on this, was to absolutely limit everything as much as possible, because we all understand that you can't take things away as easily as you can prevent them from happening.
Yeah.
So our plan from day one was to have an ordinance that stated all these things, what they are defined as
I think it's
cultivation, everything under the sun, but not necessarily allowed it. So in the future, as the town decides, yes, we do want this, it's already written what it is and what the town would accept if we were to accept those. So we do, you will see in there that we do have limitations.
going to-
Yeah, because like I said, it's easier to say, we'll say 1, and then you say, well, you know what, this is really working out, and there's another spot, we could have 2. To say it's 2 and then go, ooh, 1's not working out, then you have to, it's more difficult procedure. It's easier to grow into something than to pull it back. But so applicant is going to end up being a person who already has a license from the state. So they're coming here, they're prepared. It's not a wish, it's not a dream. It's- Yeah, I already have this license from the state, because we had in our research, we looked up how many people are licensed in the state and how many operations are in the state. It was like 4 times the amount or something like that. So people apply for the licenses, hoping to get some situation out there. So they're prepared. It's like having a driver's license and no car. It's the same situation. So we're looking for a licensed individual to participate in what's going on. There were qualifications. Where were they?
I think to the original statement that's on page 1 of the applicant, I think the gist of that is that the state is not going to approve it, the license, until the town approves it. And the town is not going to approve it until we've got an approved application from the state. So that's where it says that it's not yet been approved or denied.
Well, I was
They've done their
looking at
paperwork.
About international ownership.
Okay,
Well, because eligibility requirements, you have to be 21 years old, pass a criminal background check, demonstrate financial stability, not have a past affiliation with legal drug activity, and obtain zoning approval from your municipality before applying.
Okay,
Why can't they be a resident? So. Name.
we don't know.
Adult use restrictions, right? You have adult use retail. Retailers must be main residents for at least 4 years.
Is this only gonna be for recreational?
Yeah, we
Or
had
is
it.
there gonna be a possibility to have medical marijuana establishments?
It does define what all of those are. From day one, we're not opening the floodgate for
Right.
everything. So you're going to see in there that there are limitations.
Right, well, that's, 'cause I was just looking, all your terms of, it says, unless otherwise indicating. It's what's right here, but you can refer to that, main revised statutes titled 28-B, and that's, you read that would give you pretty much everything you need to know, wouldn't it?
But don't you wanna know exactly what we're opening? I'm back in your.
Yeah.
I wanna know, is this medical only? Is this recreational?
Recreation
only?
only.
Everything only.
Recreation.
That is all in here. So if you want to just have a conversation about it, we can do that, or we can go through the ordinance page by page, which might be a better way to do it.
Yeah. let's take that, let's,
And that's part of it. It says, within this, also it says, there's allowed in 2 facilities for growing medical products. So like if we're selling to a medical retail place that creates stuff. So there's 1 retail, store, adult use cannabis products manufacturing with a footprint no more than 1,600 square feet of retail selling space. And it should be previously approved storefront establishment failed.
Their previously approved storefront establishment failed to promptly renew their town permit during the designated renewal period of 30 days. Their permit may be awarded to another prospective applicant on the approval of the planning board after 45 days of expiration. So it does. The town shall permit 1 adult use cannabis retail store that can also do adult use cannabis product manufacturing. 1 store. Adult.
You,
1 store. It's recreational. 1 store.
At the present time, you've been there.
so, medical important. I would think we'd like to support our medical people needs first.
We being a medical card holder, they're phasing out medical. They're trying to change stores into mostly recreational
But
as
they
well.
haven't done it yet.
But
The,
in the
the state is
process,
working on that, and I
currently,
think that's because the regulations are
But
much
we wouldn't wanna
stricter
set up-
on the adult use. Like,
That doesn't mean the town has to go by that.
well,
No,
well, they're
but-
not gonna have a state license.
they can have a state license
we
to
would,
use, to sell cannabis.
we would have
But
more
the town
business.
could say, we focus on medical.
We wouldn't have as much business with just strictly
That's
medical.
the idea, to protect the people,
It
not
is
to
that
drive
idea,
business.
but it's also to get money for the town from the businesses that we have, so we don't want to set up for a failing business.
I understand, but I think that there are other businesses that we can think of, or we can encourage ideas for, other than medical marijuana. I mean, other than cannabis.
Like what?
No, that's not the question. We can think of other things. I'm putting the value of children, the value of personal safety, the highways that are gonna have cars up and down the road, the police departments that are already overstretched,
That's already,
robberies are going to happen. I mean, let's not have a blind eye.
that's already occurring.
Excuse
And,
me?
a
I can't hear you.
cannabis store wouldn't enhance that,
I
especially
don't
with all
agree
of our
with you.
limitations.
I don't agree with you. Mhm, it is okay.
yeah,
Okay,
then
I
you
think-
don't vote for the ordinance, yeah,
Yeah.
which is good.
What
Yeah.
exactly are we trying to accomplish tonight with this
Just,
review
just get input,
discussion?
yeah, just
Yep.
discussion.
Okay, I can see, considerable value to having medical marijuana dispensary in Sullivan. It is something, I mean, considering our aging population, there are a lot of people who have chronic pain. It's used for arthritis, fibromyalgia, cancer treatments, people who have, who are undergoing chemotherapy and are experiencing nausea. Spinal issues, you name it, it is, and there seem to be expanding medical uses for it, so I don't know why we would not want to have, a
Well-
medical dispensary.
Go back what you're saying, you're saying the state is phasing that out.
Like they were trying to,
And why, I don't know why they would be doing that.
Well, because I would guess because they make more money if they do retail,
Well,
quite honestly.
Where are more controls in the industry?
I'm not saying we, I'm saying the state, because you
Yeah.
get more out there, they can get more tax money.
So
This is the zone.
Wait.
Hang on. We'll
So,
get there.
we're way ahead.
We'll
So-
get there.
So where are the more, what's more regulated by the state?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Is what's more regulated by the state? Medical or recreational?
Or the testing of the products, I don't know. Alex,
So
what
what
do
are
you
you
think?
teaching your children your grandchildren, that carefree use of cannabis is more important than medical?
We're not,
That's not.
That's not,
If you promote
you
it
can buy
for
medical.
recreational use, if you promote it for recreational use, you are teaching all generations that's more important than medical.
That's
And I'm saying
stigmatizing.
our town should be better than that.
can I ask a question? And this would be for Sheila and Ray, because you two are in the green zone. And,
Mhm.
And so was, Don.
okay, no, I'll include you. Can I ask you three, since you're the most affected, what your opinion is?
Okay, I'll give you my opinion. When Young's Market, the previous owner of Young's Market that also owns the same type of thing up in Steuben, when he wanted to create an opportunity to move that business that has limitations in size on it into the town of Sullivan, he came in here looking for retail opportunities. I want land. I want to move it a little further down the road so I can expand my business. He found no takers. This does not present an opportunity for someone. We can't say, oh, here's land for you to do. This still has to go through review. If Shield doesn't want it because he's in a butter, Don doesn't want it, he's in a butter. I know, but the abutters can still say no. In looking at the entire town, as far as where's the successful business going to be? Route 1.
How was the spot determined?
The spot was determined by looking along the entirety of Route 1. Where is the least populated spot of Route 1, other than a cliffside, that you could actually put an establishment that could potentially flourish? The only spot. So if you go from my house on this side of the street to the Goldsboro line. So within that, you have my house, a couple other residences, Don's house, Asheville Road, another residence, but that is the most sparsely populated piece of town, that there's no church, there's no school that's near it. So if you want to talk about that, you would put, because you're not going to put somebody off of Tunk Lake Road. That's not a flourishing business. You're not going to put somebody up on Brook Ray Road, because it's house, school, Franklin. So there's no opportunity on there. There's no opportunity on Taunton. All the opportunities for someone to put something that could flourish and not bring traffic further into the neighborhoods is only that one piece of Route 1. We can't make anybody open up an opportunity for someone to put a brick and mortar, but that is the only place. We looked at doing, how far away from your house would you want it? We did 500 feet, the whole town on a map. Draw me a 500-foot circle from every piece of property in town. The map turned black.
Okay, so that doesn't answer John's question,
But
though.
there, so
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
so personally,
my mom's house,
exactly.
and there's a church in,
Uh-huh.
and the church is gonna turn into a pot shop?
Nope.
Because
You have too many people. But that's why it's on. But that's why it's on this side of the road, on Route 1, not Asheville.
No.
Yeah, but not Asheville Road, because that would not be beneficial to a business. That would be hidden.
Right. Yeah.
Route
It's
1.
gonna create traffic around Asheville, Route 1, Asheville.
And so would Young's Market if it moved into town.
Just like when Young Store started selling alcohol, you go 1 mile on either side of the store, and there's a million little nip bottles about this big up and down the road. So
It's the whole road.
yeah. You make money off of the. Oh, I didn't know that. Next time I'm gonna start.
My Uncle Gary used to make a fortune off that stuff.
Okay. But it did have an effect.
Mhm.
You know, so it's going.
Any business that would go into a spot limited like that would make an impact. And it's not Asheville, it's Route 1. Asheville will be,
Well, remember, Ashland used to have a lot of thriving businesses on that road.
Well, they used to have heroin.
Yeah,
too.
so then we were there because someone's on folks that, I don't think they're gonna be.
No.
Importance to this town. The Asheville Community Church for which I was pastor for many years.
My grandmother was the organist there, yes.
Yes. What was your name?
Thelma, yes.
Historic. And I was going to come and ask you, why is the Historic Association not repairing that building?
Oh, I
That's
have
a
no idea what they're doing.
Nationwide attraction that would bring more business to Sullivan rather than cannabis. And I just want to couple them by saying, the head of the Asheville Church once told me, sorry, that the state, I don't know if it's the wardens or troopers or DEA or whatever, had a year plus hidden in the woods kind of operation for drugs that were being sold illegally in Asheville. So you're telling me that that's disappeared and that cannabis is still, that's not gonna be.
We're not telling you
No,
anything.
I know you're not.
We're saying this is an option you can vote for or not vote for.
Because we were presented the, where would a store go? And how would you do growing? So you're telling me there were no opportunities in Sullivan to have a store?
I don't know. What's wrong with, the quarry area?
You're off the beaten path.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, but anything off of Route 1, any business that you're looking to get traffic to come by and come in needs to be on the main drag. If you put it further out, now what you do is now you have these little hangouts in neighborhoods. So you want it on the main drag. You don't want Hannaford in the middle of Taunton Drive. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't help anybody.
These places rent zone is business.
Depends on what your business is.
Why would that be different?
Because if a business like this, you want people in, out, it specifies in here, no loitering, this and that. So it's in and out.
Hit what they want, they're gonna jump in the can, they're gonna go home.
I just know for me as a business owner, and I'm not going to. So
Right.
don't say, so don't get the ideas, I'm not gonna do it. But if I was going to open a cannabis shop, I would want the most amount of traffic. I'd want the tourists going by, I'd want the people going, or actually any kind of shop.
Yes, I mean,
Any kind of shop, if I was doing it, because I'm a businessman, I'd be in it to make money. I know everybody said, the town is different. Me, if we want to encourage people to come do it, we want to give them the opportunity to have the best place. That is all this is.
yeah, no, I get it. I just, and it doesn't sound like you guys are gonna allow very much of it anyway.
It's not, it's the town.
It's the town.
All the,
I mean, it's the town from the very core.
Yeah.
From the voted election day
And the town has
to-
to put this together.
to sitting at a planning board meeting to everyone having their say about what happens. This is such a town activity, how this gets controlled and who says yes and who says no. This is, everybody has an opportunity to have skin in the game other than the applicant.
But you can't do anything without an ordinance in place first. And
So,
Well, as a businessman, you would want one coverage to promote your business.
Yes.
Get money. And does Sullivan really need the money that bad? That they would run a cannabis store?
what it does is the potential is there, revenue coming in from sales of cannabis would alleviate your taxes.
What a good story.
That's another conversation. Yes.
so let me ask Don, because Don's got $1 million property right at the intersection of the Asheville Road and Route 1, which any intersection shows an ideal location for any type of business. So Don, how do you feel about selling your property for $1 million?
Several comments to make on it.
Yeah, go ahead.
First, I think this map of the overlay area should be modified to identify where the church is. And I read somewhere in here that you can't have.
You can't be within.
Within some number of feet of a
Mhm.
church. or
1,000
1,000
feet.
Yep.
So that takes a chunk out. So yeah, that would be
Yeah,
So
so my mom can't make any money.
So I, look,
See,
I was
good
pretty
job.
interested since we own 3 parcels on one. So I was comparing the requirements here. And all of those parcels are vacant lots. And there's a requirement saying it needs to be a permanent, structure. And it can't, a permanent structure. And it can't be more than 1,600 square feet.
Right.
So the houses along Asheville Road are all bigger than that. Somebody's gonna have to build something smaller on those lots.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And the timing involved in this permitting doesn't seem to fit together with acquiring and building and opening and permitting, that it's the amount of time that you get to do that is very short.
That's their.
Well, it's contradictory in the thing.
So what are the restrictions on building from getting the permit to do so?
Well, you need the permit. I think you need the cannabis permit before you build. You have to submit the design.
So you first have to find a site,
So let's
a site that would be potential to do so.
That's why they're offering $1 billion.
Okay, so someone says, I like your little corner triangle spot.
can't tell you how many people.
So I like this little spot. I want to do something. Whatever the business is, bookstore, gas station, cannabis store. There's the process. So there's the process in here, limit the applicant from, can I do this here, to having it here? What are the limitations that you see? Well, because you said the time constraints are contradictory.
Yeah,
So there must be something that you found that says,
don't have it. It seems that you need the approved building permit before you can make your application.
Yep.
And once the application is made, the clock starts running on how long you have to get that put in place.
If this was me doing it, I would come in, first off, I'd find a location. Let's just say it's yours. They'd say, all right, Don, are you gonna sell me this land for this? We come to an agreement that whatever, yes, you're gonna sell me the land. Okay, then I'm gonna go to the town and say, this is what I want to do. Can I get approvals for all this stuff? Once I get the town's verbal approvals or written approvals, a contract in place, I'd go back to you, buy the land, then I'd put the building in.
You might have to get a cannabis license.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah,
yep, in along the process.
yeah, and then I'd put in for the license after, I do all that stuff before I had the license, but under the assumption that I'm gonna get the license, cause it might be I don't know if they have franchise stores or whatever, a franchise, maybe the right, yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think the one in Ellsworth that was trying to come in was a franchise.
They own a whole bunch of stores.
Yeah,
So it's not franchise, it's just they own a lot.
You know, the mobile or transport, does that prohibit modular?
Well, we don't want someone rolling in with a trailer and saying, hey, open for business.
Covered by that.
Well, cause I can pick up my house, I can pick up my 1790 farmhouse and move it down the block. No, nothing, well, part of it has, but nothing restricts any building from being moved. But once you set something in place, there's, as long as you've got no wheels under it that you're gonna drag it away, it is a 1600 with, you fall within there.
You put modular on a slab, you probably
Yeah, because you're setting up a structure that's meant to stay there.
yeah, and that would be up to the code enforcement officer to do it.
So you again, code enforcement to planning board, and then a meeting like this happens with planning board to talk about what's going on and what's the public input.
Yeah, another thing I did, parking group line, curb cuts and highway access and parking, are there things to cover that? I mean, it seems like we should have a minimum of parking spaces and, I'm sure the highway department has,
All that would have to be, once the ordinance in place, that would all have to be hammered out before anything could be done, but before anything starts, you need this.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
And
no,
the-
it come up, nope, this area is not gonna work. We'd have to do an amendment to the ordinance to get a different area.
Because if you're gonna if you're gonna build another Dollar General today, you would come with not only a building plan, but a parking plan. Because it would be, my building is this many square feet, based on that, I need this many spots, this many handicap. You know, with my curb cut along my sidewalk for the handicap access. And DOT dictates the stuff along Route 1.
People, the occupancy of the building, you're gonna need so many parking spaces for.
Yep.
So basically, all along Route 1, you can count how many existing, the reason why Dollar General went in is because there was always, an entrance over from Route 1.
And there's already a store there
Any
and
of these
years ago, yeah.
entrances here off Route 1, now you gotta go to the state
Mhm.
to get an exit. So that's gonna put Don's property right there on the Asheville Road. So convenient, because the town of Sutherland doesn't require that, you know? So Don, jump on it.
Well, I mean, you got a lot of offers. I mean, it is a prime piece of real estate. People look at maps and they go, who?
I get all this processing done in the state, you know?
Yep.
And the other thing is, if there are setbacks from the church, is that gonna be included in the?
They would have to. Oh,
Well, it states it in there.
Yeah.
That any church,
Yeah.
we could put it on there, but it does,
Okay, so, but on the great map, if you have people that are gonna get, that will also be blacked out in the circle.
Yeah,
I'm in the wrong ordinance.
John, the map doesn't show where exact, that just shows if there's gonna be, it would be in this area. So, but to answer your question is, no, that wasn't the intent of the map in the first place. You notice they don't have anything listed there.
There's not even road names, there's
Yeah.
nothing
They just,
listed.
it is, this is the area we think it should go, and then it has to be whittled down. When
Yeah,
someone
and
wants,
this whole green area, since it's only on one side of the road,
Yep.
I could probably count how many inlets are covert access.
can't,
there is. And there really isn't, there's, 1, 2,
Not a lot.
3 on that whole stretch.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
And so that limits everything, so
Yep.
ideally, somebody's gonna wanna put it at the very beginning of the Asheville Road. So between the Asheville Road and the Morenci Road
Shields
is gonna
backyard,
be
yeah.
the only limited hotspot, you know, that's gonna be basically for this whole entire ordinance.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody's already
So-
figured that out.
Yeah, I guess that's the question on it. When you guys, when the site was selected, was there any looking into how much real area is that, or is this actually doable with this site? Is the question.
There is no, I mean, like they just said, there's houses all the way going up or up cliffs.
Mhm.
That is the only place we found that you could build,
Okay. And
period.
all that land is, I'm assuming most of it's private property anyway.
Yes.
I mean, so could we amend this? Could we,
Well, he's doing that, go ahead.
Is that going to vote for, will we vote for approval of this zone as well? So it's included in the
Yes, that means if it were to happen, the only place that could happen would be in that zone. No, it's a part of this,
so if we said that you took from Don's tip out here, so if you took it, whatever it is, 2 inches out, and you struck a line across the whole thing, there's your zone, it defines Route 1. It's not, Don's triangle is in Happy Town, but that would be, as I ruined the TV by doing this.
Yeah, it's not a touchscreen, right?
I know, that's coming. Nobody knows.
So that
Oh,
puts
no.
the town manager and Don in the best gravy situation
Yeah,
you could
this-
possibly imagine.
This is me, that ain't happening. So forget that, that's not happening there.
Okay,
But yeah, I mean, someone lives here, and this is where you start to come into
Well,
it.
I'm pretty sure Shields' backyard's got some play there.
yours doesn't go to Route 1, though.
Does it go all the way to
I
Route
got potential down
Yeah.
there.
But, you know, and then you have businesses over here, you know, close to this and different houses. So it really is a very, it's a tight spot, and there's a house in here, and there's something out here somewhere. It's a tight spot.
So
But
don't
but even though it's a tight spot, this is the most available piece of spot in here, in the entire town on Route 1. It's 6 miles.
What is that area open? No, I see the big green and he's saying only this tight spot is available. So
Good.
tell him.
That's the only tight spot available today.
What does that mean?
And maybe one day Race or Dawn or Shield decides to sell their property to somebody can do it. It's already zoned for it.
But then again, if I did anything by me, look at all the others I have here. I could say, no.
No.
All these people here have a say of what I do in something like that. And the same thing all through here. So here is where it gets, once you get past the Overcove Road, this is all the Shipland stuff. And this is not pot, this is all woods here.
Where's the Oprah's property?
Overcove is here, the Over property, the
Yeah.
old Overs were here.
And they would have something to say.
Yeah, and so that's the thing, like wherever any of this comes, there's, if you talk about opposition from anybody in town along Route 1, the least amount of people show up here. So that gives you the most amount of probability for something here. Everything else, there's all the different facilities, and look from here, go from the bridge and go to Broadway Road. It's house. You get past Broadway Road, now you go down, you have the open water and you have a cliff. Next thing you know, you're at the school. So now at the school going down the hill, house. Next thing you know, you're here. So that's what it chisels down to.
From what you're saying, we could ignore that and just open up Route 1 through the whole town.
Well, but looking at Route 1 through the whole town
Right.
was where you
And just leave it at that. And if you can find a place
Good for
where
you.
you don't have a butters, we're gonna say no. Then you can do it.
We'll have Dunbar's store.
gave it butters, down below, across the street.
So basically, as it's set up now, it's putting such a restraint that it's taking just a handful of people that can profit the most off of this order. I'm gonna use Don. Don, right now, is sitting pretty on a dime, right? So, he would be. He's already smiling. I'm thinking about it. But the thing is the least amount of resistance you're gonna get, you know, Shield will have to resist. He's pretty close. And it's just like, it's a windfall for 1 to 8 people.
So are you saying, so back to, I'm sorry, your name?
John.
John's point, make all Route 1 available.
Throughout the whole town.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, then
Only the Route 1 corridor, with the
Then-
restrictions laid in about churches and this and that.
Yeah.
that would be more fair.
Sure.
The whole
I think,
town.
I like that.
Let people
Because-
see if they can do it.
I mean, there goes Don's idea, but.
No, Don has gas stations and stuff shaking down.
Yeah.
That sounds like a more fair way to do it.
I think so.
No map.
Can I ask a basic question?
Certainly.
Why is this suddenly so important? Why now?
Because we have someone who is interested in opening a business.
I'm sorry.
There was a citizen in town who was interested in opening a business and wants us.
So you have a purchaser already?
No.
Not for this, at all.
So
But
what
this
is
big,
your
but
purchaser
The,
for?
the town voted on it, and the town wants an ordinance which would allow for the sale of cannabis.
Sure, you explain your comment.
Because we have people we don't have people, there's individuals in town, I would say, who has expressed interest in opening cannabis growing business or whatever. This is not a lot of that, per se.
What happened to Norton Bamford's?
Well, you made a statement. Why now? How long has this been in the works, guys?
Long time.
How many years? No, it's been before 2 years.
Yeah, they voted for it.
Yeah, this has been in the works for a long time.
2 years ago at town meeting,
Yeah.
there was a vote, do you want to create an ordinance, yes or no? And it was a yes to create an ordinance. Because there was questions about, well, does the town want to go forward with this or not?
Yeah.
Because technically, the town has to opt in to do stuff. You just, someone can't set up shop, the town has to say, yeah, we want stuff. But to want stuff, you have to have an ordinance to say, what do you want and where do you want it? So there was the acknowledgement of, yes, we want to go forward, and then follow this process to create something to define what that is.
So if there was no town ordinance, wouldn't that just fall back on the state's rules?
No, because the town still has to say yes.
Right.
If the town doesn't opt in, you can't do anything.
Well, I was just saying like for the plan ordinance and stuff, I mean, if you don't have a town ordinance, state rules apply, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, cannabis a little bit different.
Well, even.
You
with
can't-
the-
Because you eat clams and.
No, because you're automatically, well, because clams, you're automatically opted in. This, you have to opt in. So you're automatically out until you say you're in. So that's why it's different. That's why you have to have something in place.
But I think that idea of doing, just open up the whole Route 1 corridor, and then if you can find a spot.
Good luck.
squeeze it In and don't, you know, if you.
Okay.
Don't shoot you before you get started.
Yeah, and I actually happen to think the perfect spot is, and I'm not, is the Taunton Bay, up at the soap company. I always thought that was a,
No,
now,
no,
I'm not,
no.
not necessarily
Wait.
in favor.
Okay. So let's do this. We have, where are the, John, help me out. Where are the, you can't go within this many feet of this, that, and the other thing. Where are they in here? As I'm flopping around 14 pages. Where is it?
The only one is the school.
The school and church and something else.
Not that much.
But I'm thinking if we're gonna say scrap the map, it's Route 1 corridor. We need to make sure you can't be closer than this to that.
Page
6?
requirement.
Or the feet is bounded of pre-existing private or public school, library, or place of worship.
What about residents?
So when we first started off, we said, maybe we should say so many, it cannot be within so many feet of a
Yeah.
residence. So that we could satisfy the residents of the town who don't want it, who wouldn't be within X number of feet of their property. But at the same time, we had to find a place where somebody could do a business because that's what we were asked to create. So
Mhm.
we had written in on a draft 500 feet from a residence, an existing residence. And as Ray said, you draw those circles around town, and the town is completely.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're in Hancock or Goldsboro.
So even if we still go back to that now, it's not gonna work in this area here.
Right.
Mhm.
If we go back to 500, 300, 200,
Mhm.
it's not gonna work there.
But
It's not gonna work on Taunton Drive anywhere.
the
It's
way,
not gonna work on.
the way you've got it is good. And then if we said all of Route 1, there could be, again, I'm using an example, let's say the guy, Toby, it's wrong side of the street, but across the street from me, they wanted to open. If I don't have a problem being their neighbor, they don't have a problem being the neighbor, and they don't have a problem, they can do it. So it would just be, if your neighbors don't have a,
Stipulate that.
no, that's what I say, don't put it in there.
It has to be approved by butters.
$100 to say yes.
That is my issue.
But there's more than one person. That's why there's a butters. So,
Oh, I want as much as him, if not more. So-
but if you, we all know of conditions where people, they buy off something, but this is not about just 4 people that live around a piece of property. This is a town function. This is town participation, and the town has a voice in things.
Yep.
It's not just about a few people.
What happened?
What happened?
That's why Dunbar Store not being done by Dunbar anymore.
Oh, it was worse than 7.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
cause I know people that knocked it off.
So you know, the floor you walk in, it was like this, and you get seasick walking in that store in the seventies.
Yeah, not to mention Mel Hughes, so.
So site requirements.
I don't
Each-
think we need to change it.
So each cannabis establishment shall meet minimum state standards. No permit shall be granted for any cannabis establishment within 1,000 feet of the boundary of any pre-existing private or public school, library, or place of worship
And you're saying we don't need to put residents in.
along the Route 1 corridor.
No, because remember, the very first part of that says it's gotta go to the planning board first,
Right.
before it even starts any of that. And that's when the residents will have a chance to say, nope.
So how does
On-
that work? One of your butters says, I don't want it, that's, you're screwed.
Then you don't get it.
It
What does it say?
Or something.
Yeah.
No, the planning board, it does not say that, but they could come in and gather up the neighbors and just vote it down. Cause it has to go to the town to vote anyway. So,
town has a say.
Can we add the fire department to that? Where it shouldn't be.
I think you want it close to the fire department. It's like close to that. I would think you'd want it close to the fire department. We could, I suppose you could.
So the language to add Route 1. What's your suggestion again?
Say, instead of kind of abutting or
I said along the Route 1 corridor.
along could be,
On Route 1 within the town limits. On Route 1 within the town limits. Sound defining. So town limits along Route 1.
John, does that address your,
I'm sorry, I'm playing on
Okay,
go back to sleep.
defining Route 1. John, before you play with that, defining Route 1.
Yeah.
Along Route 1 within the town limits.
No.
On Route 1.
Route 1.
On Route 1. No.
No.
No. On Route 1 within the town limits.
Or the lot.
Yeah, that would be on both sides of the road.
The
Yeah.
lots abutting Route 1. The lots abutting Route 1. Road frontage, the lots abutting Route 1.
Each
Because some may go back further than others.
I'm just trying to make it not run on sentence wordy thing.
That's what-
Yeah.
Define.
So I'm thinking that once it's like too many words, it's like they stop reading at the beginning.
Why do you need that, John? John, why do you need that?
Well, aren't all the lots on Route 1 visible?
So why do you have to write it in there?
Oh, oh.
security, yeah.
Oh, well, that's after you get it, but if you just build the lots along Route 1, then of course the next thing is already in there. That's requiring, you gotta be able to be in the building.
Yeah, I think, John, since it's already in there, we don't need to overcomplicate it. I think.
how long, it could be like, well, you know, the corners on, like, the Maria Kate, the Ashford Road, and they can have interest on the Ashford Road rather than on Route 1. So, am I making sense? So if you say on Route 1, they have interest on Route 1.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. Right.
entrance on. Route one.
Entrance on Route 1, right.
But that would be the same thing as the.
What?
Because the balance lot. Yeah.
The libraries are in here. No, it says within 1,000 feet of a library. Yeah. Yeah, no school, no worship, no nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because well, it says public, private school, library, place of worship. So any of those type of public facilities where you might find someone that's not of age to walk into the store. Too bad, 1,000 feet away. On Route 1, within the town limits.
Yes.
Okay, scrap the map. Right? Scrap the map.
Sorry, Sheila, buddy. I know, you didn't even know the map existed.
No,
I know it. I'm just giving you a hard time.
You can take the map home if you want. To you. It's why it says draft, because this process needs to happen to take draft to something that you bring to, like, listen, getting this far in the process was not easy. To bring this here to be like, oh, this.
And the thing, remember, this is the starting point.
Shoot.
Do you think this ordinance is really ready to be presented for a vote?
Yep.
Yep,
Why?
because I've worked on it too long now.
It doesn't. Why do you think it's ready when there's so much discussion about it?
Because this is the, as I mentioned before, this is the starting point. Your ordinance has got enough,
Substance.
well, substance, and it's got enough, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It doesn't mean this, it's not carte blanche. This is the starting point. Yeah. You have to do so many steps beyond this, but before you can do those steps, you need this to get started.
So we're gonna- The draft.
Nope,
Mm-mm.
nope, the ordinance, is- this is the
But
ordinance.
you just saying it wasn't
Can I say,
ready.
can I say something? I'm confused.
No,
This is a very hot topic. There'll always be discussion, no matter whose side you're on, okay? There's not gonna be a perfect ordinance to fit everybody's needs, okay? So we're gonna go for, it's a good idea to go forward with this ordinance, give the town a chance to say, yeah, we like it, yeah, it's a good starting point. Then to back off and hold off any longer.
What kind of opportunity have the residents of the town been given to read these 11 pages?
Today.
No,
Today's the only day?
no, the cannabis, you guys have met multiple times. It's been announced to the public.
We've been meeting for almost 2 years. You could have come to the committee and you wouldn't have
But-
input.
But
You're meeting here. I'm asking the town.
Yeah.
Everybody here.
Just to be there.
Yep.
it's been online for 2 weeks.
I'm sorry, but 2 weeks.
but creating a cannabis ordinance has been a
Been 2
topic
years.
for 2 years.
Just asking. You can- Going to have, if so many of them, and I'm gonna tell you, have not read it. But they could easily.
But that's their
They could
fault.
be here, they're right, she's
Yeah.
right, they could be here tonight, they could pick it up anytime between now and June 9th. To read it,
Where they're from.
Can I,
it's on the website.
Front page.
there's been,
It's on the website.
yeah. Can I mention something? There's been a long time, communication that people come in, get involved in the committee, get involved in the stuff. It seems like the information is out there, but it's up to you to get involved. So I know you've been, yeah. Well, how do you get in? Cause I'm trying. Well, hopefully you'll vote for me. But, anyhow, I think isn't this like the last opportunity to make any last minute?
Yeah.
changes?
That's why this is important.
So this is like going forward with the ordinance because 2 years ago, the town came in and approved it. And it's only fair to the people that wanted the ordinance after 2 years to go ahead with it. And then amendments can be, I know I heard you, but not.
Okay.
So, if I interest, I still have the
No,
right,
not that.
I still have the right to raise taxes, that's
Yeah.
after your death.
Okay.
Right,
Can I-
that's why we're here.
John, can I interject this section? So we talked about the Harbor Ordinance tonight, right? The Harbor Ordinance was first put in 1993, followed by an edit in 2012, 15, 16, 17, 19, 26. We're proposing. These are structured documents that are always have room for improvement. They always have room for flexibility. We don't have one yet. This we've had in place. So back in 1993,
You need the starting point.
we created a starting point for the harbors that got improved upon and refined. You know, you bring something up. There were people with houseboats up on the pond. They had to revisit the ordinance to describe how we're going to address houseboats. As things changed, you know, we could go through all of this stuff and create this ordinance, and the town goes, yeah, and the state could say, you know what, we're done with cannabis, and all of our work is for naught. That's not up to us. All we can do is do our work and present it to the people. You know, and you didn't have an opportunity because of your situation, but this has been publicly pushed around for a couple of years.
It gets brought up in about every third select board meeting.
Yeah.
In 2017, I think it was.
So from 2017, there's been a conversation. So this is 9 years that this has been a conversation through all different facets. So it might be new to some people, but it's not new to a whole bunch. And a whole bunch of people have been talking about it for 9 years. And they should be here tonight. You guys had something? I saw hands and no.
Same thing, I was just gonna mention that, 9 years ago.
Yeah, I thought it's been a long time.
Yeah, it was.
And then amendments can be made anytime.
Exactly. Because in the whole point of doing things like this, when it talks about the growing operations, there's 4 different sizes of growing operations, and the agreement was that we'd only have 2 of the smaller ones at any given time, because we don't know if the town's ready for a 20,000 square foot growing facility in town. That's something the town needs to grow into. So we have it that you can have 2 500 square foots or 2,500, because we need to grow into these opportunities to see, is this something we can manage and control? And do people have the land to do this without impinging on the freedoms of their neighbors? So you start with things and you grow into them. But that's just like Harbor. Do we want to choose to control things? And because there's a need.
They need to figure out what one.
They need to go through the whole regular procedure, but they do not have restrictions on where.
They don't have, but they'll.
No. But they still have to go through the same approval process of butters and this and that. So, and that's just like if you wanted to open a hoop house to grow tomatoes tomorrow. I'm going to grow 20,000 square foot of tomatoes. You're going to put up a big freaking hoop house like that, half an acre hoop house. You better come in here and bring a permit and see before everybody, because I might not want to see that hoop house. Maybe I don't like the smell of tomatoes. So, you know, it's the same process all around. I like tomatoes.
Any comment on the footprint, the 1,600 square feet? Is it, to me, that doesn't seem very large.
No, to me, I thought it sounded big.
It sounded big.
40 by 40.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
Do you want, because again, something
Well,
you
I'm just
can,
thinking if it's an existing building that someone wants to use, and I think somebody else mentioned it earlier, chances are it's bigger than.
You know, you could partition it off, partition that part off.
well, the store in Ellsworth, one that they keep denying. How big is that?
It was too cool. But I guess it's just
The
like a
one on
little
Main Street?
Yeah, that'd be possibly, it's like a little walk-in area with a desk.
It's pretty small.
Yeah.
What about Curaleaf, the one up there in the by yeah,
Open space.
yeah, one by Camden Bank. About 1,600 square feet. So I mean,
But it's about they like nothing and very open. Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about a retail establishment, again, it's a starting point. If all of a sudden people in town go, wow, yeah, we want this, maybe some people start to be like, I don't mind this.
Yeah, we do an amendment to increase the square foot.
But you have to start somewhere.
Right, 40-foot building would be 50,
One more
100 feet.
question on the.
what?
A single story building
Yeah.
of
40
When
by
it comes to
50 by
edibles,
30 feet, 50 feet long by 30 feet
40 by
wide.
40,
You
1600.
could go, you could squeeze a little more out of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got.
That's plenty, that's quite a bit of room.
you got 40 this was pretty good.
when it comes to edibles,
Mhm.
does that have to go through like Maine Health, the? like,
Are you,
food
okay,
farm?
are you manufacturing or selling?
Like selling it retail? Does it have to go through like Maine Health? Oh, they come in, check your facility, make sure you're making your cookie card.
I license people to make product.
So that's enforced by the state.
That's
No.
enforced by the Department of Agriculture, but the regulations for the labeling, what's in the product is both, agriculture and Office of.
So like if it's got nuts and nut allergies and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, not just that, but what is the THC, what is, what is.
I'm just talking about the food
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
not the.
No, the food part is just like someone making,
No.
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 Like if you put nuts in it and so it's got a nut allergy. And they, whoops, I didn't know it got nuts in it.
no, that's all.
That's from the state.
That's all.
Yeah, but there are regulations for that.
Another license that they would have to have.
Okay,
But we also license people that have a facility just for making products. They don't sell them on the wholesale. So it's gotten to the point where most of those products are coming from big producers and they're selling to all the stores.
yeah. Cause Roxanne Quimby was out there making her own cookie.
That raises another question I don't know the answer to. If we have a retail store and then we have growing lots someplace else. This gentleman just said he hired people to make. Where's,
No,
we just.
He didn't hire people to make.
he worked for the oversight.
He worked for the Department of Agriculture. So he would inspect facilities that made things. He didn't hire people.
This area.
And you're 1,600 square feet. So if you want to have a kitchen in your space, you're partitioning off some of your store. To begin with, it's more profitable for someone to buy already pre-made. It's like, does Hannaford squeezer run orange juice? No.
Make it there. You don't have to have her making it and you making it. and
Well, you'd have to be licensed facilities.
Right.
Yeah, you would have to have licensed facilities within town to manufacture. We have nothing in here to do that outside of one facility.
This
There is. There's only one facility. There is mention of it. Because there is mention here of one building in town. Yes, it does. One adult use cannabis retail store, adult use cannabis products manufacturing. I am on page 9, section B of, page 9, section B. One adult use cannabis retail store, adult use cannabis products manufacturing. So you can manufacture in your store, but all you're doing is you're stealing your own real estate to do so.
I was just gonna mention, I down at High and Mighty, the retail part is approximately 1,600 feet
Mhm.
in the front of the store, and the whole back of the building, which is
Mhm.
huge, is
Yep.
an indoor grow.
Yep.
That's all indoor grow.
So we that was one of the conversations we had. 1,600 foot of retail space could turn into, well, I have a 400 foot long building and the front 1,600 feet is my retail space. That's why it says footprint. Because within your 1,600 square foot footprint, you can sell, you can manufacture, but you steal all your own real estate space to sell stuff.
I got one more question. If this ordinance doesn't pass for some strange reason, or for any reason, would a grow operation that would supply some other store in some other part of the county, is that a possibility?
Sure. Anything is.
There are rules for caregivers, right?
I'm talking about
That are-
more than a caregiver, I'm talking about.
So a grow operation. So if you had no ordinance,
You'd have a new
So
ordinance.
we could take it out of this ordinance, just make it a single ordinance.
Just for growth.
Just for growth.
How many years will that take?
Oh,
see, here's the thing.
You don't live so long.
Well, but here's the thing. If you have this thing and you poll people afterwards, so why did it fail? Don't want to store. Why did it fail? Don't want to store. How about growing? Like growing. Now you have a structured document. You rip out the store, you bring it back to vote. As this.
Shouldn't take as long.
We scrapped the map and we're changing a couple things. It's not that far fetched. So if we do this now, the next round of something we vote on would be November, right? Because it falls into the natural progress of things. So you have from June to November to prep something, which is no different than our discussion we had here. So if everybody says, you know what, we don't want to store, great. You rip out all the store stuff. It's growing only this many, this size, blah, blah, blah. You change this, matter of fact, you even change where it says the town should permit one adult use cannabis store. The adult should permit 0 adult use cannabis stores. You just change the number to 0 and we move on in life. That's even easier. Forget stripping language.
We hear about the data centers that are drawing hundreds of power wattages to the expense of neighboring landowners.
Electricity and water,
Would,
yeah.
would something like this increase our electricity costs?
They'd have to pay their own electric bills.
It would-
Data centers sometimes get incentives from municipalities, counties, states to be in a spot where they don't have to pay for certain things.
in the tax
This is a
revenue.
business. This is a business. I don't care what your business is. You have to pay an electric bill. You have to pay utilities on your own. We are not financially supporting a business.
No, but
My support ends at the
They say because you've got a growing operation, that we're gonna raise everybody's costs.
no, they pay their own bill. Yeah. So if the transformer on their pole can't supply their growing facility, they pay for a new transformer to go on the pole to supply their growing facility.
And we're working on solar ordinance too, so for solar panels, we're working on an ordinance for that.
Yeah.
too.
But yes, I think it's to adopt. I think that's what it is. Hold on, I got to get in the right screen. Where am I? Maybe no, unless you have it right in front of you. All right. No, that would be too easy. Okay.
Well, he's doing that. I want to thank you guys for doing this. I know this is hard and it's. I appreciate the work you
Yeah.
guys put in on this. It's-
Well,
I
the-
just want to say something. I've been on other committees in my life. And this one was the most knowledgeable, cooperative, courteous people that I ever worked with in my life.
yeah, you feel the love? There's a lot of love right there. All right, so
so
the
Jeff, you
the
want
bat.
that?
So the question reads, to see if the inhabitants of the town of Sullivan will vote to adopt the town of Sullivan Cannabis Ordinance.
Can you put it on the screen?
I can.
He's gonna put it up on the screen, but take a look.
Right
There,
there.
there it is on the screen.
Yeah, I think it's
Been a long time.
And this, it says Cannabis Ordinance Council.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
No, it's semantics, but we can fix it. You want me to make a match? I can make a match.
No, you can't.
No, but I can change, since we're making changes to the, to this, I can change. What's nice is it's the header of the page. I changed it on one, it changes everything else.
Nothing on your end. He's changing the heading on.
So we're gonna match the ballot.
Town of Sullivan Cannabis Ordinance. That's what it says now on the top of my thing that I have here in front of me.
Question?
Shoot.
Now, since this is new, does this now get, approved by the selectmen?
Yeah, we approved.
They approved the formation of.
No, but I mean, these final changes, you know, like the map and the title and stuff like that. Does
It
that now have to be signed off by the,
It will. It hasn't been submitted to us yet.
okay.
Yeah, so it has, this is my first time seeing it.
Yeah, you had to go through this process.
Yeah.
So the next
Then
month,
you guys-
Yeah, it'll be at our next meeting to sign off on and
Okay.
approve. Yep.
All right, so
Yeah, they
it's
had it. I purposely, we didn't look at it.
because
We wanted.
you
to
people
sit-
hadn't
Yeah, the hearing.
had your input.
Gotta put it to a public hearing first.
Mm-hmm. All right, so map, done. Title, done. Applicant, we're gonna refer to the state, what the state involvement is. We refer, not department, but the state thing. So
State office, whatever.
I'll make sure I get that in there, not just department, but what the state entity is. So that makes sense. We already changed the, where the heck is it? One more time. We already changed to put in on Route 1 within town limits, because that defines our taking the map away. We defined differently where it is, which includes 1,000 feet from all the other facilities. Did I miss anything? So it's just, it's changing, it's putting the state language in for the applicant, which I want to make sure I do that right.
Before John gets a chance again, thanks to everybody for showing up, because I know he's gonna thank everybody for showing up.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for showing up, and if everyone wants to check on Facebook and see the debate we had.
Yeah.
Please do.
Well, why don't you want to buy us all your house?
But really, this is the important part. So it is important that folks show up and
Talk to your neighbors, tell them to vote for it. If you don't like it, talk to your neighbors. Yeah, yeah, tell them not to vote for it.
thank you, everybody.